Are you using the ground for rotation for your golf swing, or is it all too much effort? Is there too much tension before you even start? Because the intention of rotating creates the tension, because we've got to create the force from somewhere. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the ground for that force, so you can turn effortlessly and create this all-important momentum, instead of overthinking it, using too much tension, thinking of starting lawnmowers or stretching through the upper torso, retracting the scaps, rotating the hips 45 degrees, shoulders 90, all this kind of thing, all this kind of terminology and all these concepts, just layering and layering and layering more noise into the system. Well, let's take a look at how we actually use the ground. So these balls here, okay, attached to my belt loops, are going to show you how efficiently we can use the ground to get pelvis rotation. And this is going to indicate the angular velocity, i.e. speed. So if I just twist, or if I'm one of these golfers who uses the upper body to rotate first, you can see there's not a lot happening. I'm not really creating momentum with the pelvis for the upper body to react to and use in the backswing to swing the club. Even if I try and twist my hips, there's not a lot going on here. If I try and use my upper body, everything's coming from the upper body, all this torque, it's all being created with the upper body. There's not a lot of angular momentum being generated, and therefore, through this sequencing, transferred to the club. It's just not getting there. We're having to do all the work. And trying to turn the hips through to get the power doesn't really work, because the structure is too tensioned. It's not fluid enough. It's not reactive. These joints just are not able to react to create a sequence. So we've lost before we start.
Hi guys, we've just run an amazing first GRF golf school with Mind Factor, with Carl Morris, one of the leading, it's been an amazing experience, one of the world's leading performance coaches, and at an amazing place, 2-day golf school. It's been fantastic at West Arts, hasn't it?
Yeah, great 2 days, wonderful location, incredible weather, a really good group. It's been a special couple of days.
And myself and the team, we're looking forward to the next couple of weeks, because we're going to be coming out to Utah. GRF Golf's coming to America, and we're going to be in Utah at the Ledges at St. George at the end of June, first couple of weeks in July. We've got spaces available at our golf schools, and if you'd like to experience GRF Golf School, we'd love to see you there to help transform your game. And it's something, Carl, you've seen firsthand over the last 2 days, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been involved in golf for an awful long time now, 30 odd years coaching at the sort of thick end of things, and I have to say the 2 days I've spent here with Marcus and his team, it's just blown me away. It's a fantastic, life-changing, golf-changing experience where you'll spend time with this guy and you'll explore elements of the game that you've perhaps not done before. But above anything else, what I think you'll get from coming for the school with Marcus is you'll get a sense of what could be truly possible with your golf in the future. To me, it's really exciting that you could put a lot of patterns that have held you back for so long, explore some of your ideas, and really start to play a game that perhaps at the moment you could only dream of. It's a very, very special 2 days.
Thanks, Carl, that means so much. That's a ringing endorsement. Very, very excited to come out and share this with you guys. So if you're interested, follow all the links. You can book in. There's some spaces still available, so jump in quick, and we look forward to seeing you in Utah.
Let's just put the club to one side, and let's just look at, first of all, what we can do. And it's very visible, and you can actually feel it in a second. I suggest you try this, just attaching 2 tennis balls to 2 pieces of string or rope. Here, these are actually just TheraBands, essentially, and you'll be able to feel it just by attaching it to your belt loops. If I just twist my hips, there's not a lot going on. But if I start to use the ground and I start to push forward and back, and now I start to move my right hip forward, left hip back, and then left hip forward and right hip back, I get some pelvis rotation. And already there's a lot more momentum being created than if I was to just try and twist my hips. You can even see it's not even really very transferable. Whereas if I start to use my feet, look at the flow. Look how this is harmonised and regulated from the ground. I can actually start to push more in this direction, and I can start to get more rotation. If I just narrow my stance a little bit, it makes it easier. If I add a little bit of drop and pop, there's a lot more speed. And can you see how my upper body is actually relatively quiet? The lower body is working, it's very active, but I've got a lot of traction with the ground and we're working this way. It's as if we're stood on a bottle top and we're trying to twist it clockwise for the backswing and then anti-clockwise for the downswing. And then with a bit more vertical, a bit more flexion extension through the hips, we ramp up the speed. And you can see the speed here being generated relatively easy, as opposed to trying to twist the hips. Trying to twist or jump, it actually slows me down. If I try and load in the backswing, keeping the knee, the trail knee flexed, resistance, rotated into the hip, loading this hip, dysfunctionally for a golf swing should I say, there's not a lot of momentum being created. And how do I actually transfer this through the pelvis, just to give me a chance of getting that pelvis to torso, to shoulders, to arms, to wrists, to club sequence. So let's have a look at how we can do it. Imagine an infinity shape. It's going to start to become visible in a minute. There we go. Basically, this is how we are using our pressure shift. So I'm going to use the trail foot first. I'm going to look at the trail side of the infinity. I'm going to look at the right hand side here. And we're going to let the pressure shift towards the ball of the foot. So it goes that way, forward. And then the pressure is going to shift through the foot. So I'm going to push from toe to heel. That's going to push the hip back. And then I'm going to start to shift pressure to the lead foot, to the forefoot. And then I'm going to push off the forefoot, toe to heel, and the pressure is going to go back into the heel. And then I'm going to just repeat. And then I'm going to shift the pressure back into the trail, into that toe. It's really important we get the toe. Then we can use that toe joint and push off using that toe joint back into the heel. And then forward to the lead side, into the toe joint, push off the toe, back to the heel. So we're going to do this first of all, just in our socks. And I'm going to shift into the toe of the trail foot. And then I'm going to push straight back. And you can see the leg has to extend to allow me to go into the heel. And this pushes my trail hip back. Then I'm going to shift into the toe of the lead foot. And then I'm going to push back into the heel. See how the leg extends very abruptly. And the pressure goes into the heel, pushes the left hip back, and we've got rotation. So I'm going to start to move and allow myself to sway. And look at how the balls are swinging. I'm making what I feel is this infinity shape through the footprints, through my base of support. I'm imagining being stood here and moving, shifting my pressure through into the toe, through to the heel, through to the toe, back to the heel, and then repeat. And the balls swing around the body because the pelvis is rotating. And then if I start to add some drop and pop now, so I can start to go down and up, I get more speed. And I get more speed. At no point am I trying to rotate my hips. Yes, we can get speed, of course. Look, we can get the speed, but nowhere near the same levels. And we're not really using the ground for traction. That gives us stability too, and that gives the ability to really push off and use braking forces and things like this. So, how do we get this? Well, we're going to start off with just the trail leg. We're going to just dial down into what are we supposed to be feeling here to use the ground. Very simple exercise. Start with your feet together. Take a step forward and out to the right. So on the vector map over here, I'd be stepping over to the grey. That's at 1:30 on a clock face. So I'm going to step out to 1:30, and as I step, I'm going to drop. I'm just going to let myself just fall. Because essentially, guys, we're trying to use gravity. We're just falling. Our body mass is falling. So we're using our weight to load into the floor. And then, with a very dynamic push-off, we get this. We get all that force transferring through the body. So I'm going to just fall into the floor and then push off back and push this trail hip back. So we're falling, pushing back. And notice how it just assists rotation of the upper body. The upper body just reacts. This fires, and then the torso is free to react. And the momentum is there for it to utilise. The body can now sequence the spine freely. So we're actually dropping into the forefoot to push back away from the direction we've just fallen in. So we're always pushing off to the opposite direction we've just travelled in to load. Now I'm going to go with the lead side, so back to centre, feet together. Now it's going to be in the yellow direction here. This is 10:30 on a clock face. And push back. See, the hip, the knee, the ankle, they're all flexing. They're loading. And we're going into the toe, the big toe. And then push back into the heel. And it pushes the hip back. Now when you take a normal stance, we can start to explore toe to heel, to toe to heel. And then we can start to ramp it up, not by trying to twist the hips. We can amplify this now by moving in a more abrupt manner from toe to heel. So now I'm able to create a lot more speed by moving in a much more abrupt manner from toe to heel, toe to heel. Then when I add the drop and pop and really push, it makes such a big difference. Now if you're struggling just to feel this intensity, because it's a very dynamic action, we're looking at this impulse action through the joints, ankle, knee, hip. If we're not getting this force impulse through the joints, everything moves together and we don't get much output. It's all too soft. Then we have to start trying to tension artificially and trying to manipulate things and just to compensate. So, what I suggest you do, start with your feet together, bend your knees, imagine the toes are the accelerators, heels are the brakes, and push back. And just extend your knees. And just rip, as if you're ripping the carpet, just push back and you'll slide on the carpet. Now let's do that unilaterally. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do it with my trail side, but I'm going to drop, first of all, into that 130, just as we did a second ago, and then I'm going to rip it back. So I'm dropping into the big toe and ripping it back, and it's going to push the hip back. And then I'm going to do it with the lead side, out now to 1030. And push the foot straight back. It's going to push the hip back. It's going to snap the leg straight. And when I say snap, I just mean extend dynamically, quick. Now we take a normal stance and we can start to feel that very dynamic action. I'm just going to lift this so you can see how we can build up the speed and how we can start to speed this thing up. And when you start to move quickly from toe to heel, you create that momentum. We need this before this. We don't want this happening before these move. These have to move first. Once we've got these moving, we've got momentum. And now we can explore how much momentum we can create. So using the image of the infinity, we can start to recognise the parts of the footprint we need to use. So we can utilise our full base of support to create that force and start the swing from the ground up, so the upper body can just react and the club can just react. We've got momentum travelling through the system from the ground up. So once we've got this happening, we're already developing an awareness for this lower body action. How do we transfer it? Well, we take the club and we want the balls to move first. We don't want them together. We don't want this. The balls move first. And you'll see, look, the balls move first. And if I make a swing, you'll see the balls move. As I load into the toe, push back, the balls move. Momentarily, you'll see the upper body react. It's a split second. It might even look together sometimes, it's not. Now in the downswing. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the balls off and we're going to use what we've just been feeling in a golf swing and explore these sensations, because these are just a tool just to amplify our senses, to heighten our attunement to how we're using our lower body so we can actually feel what's going on. Our perception needs to be clearly aligned to what is actually happening, to reality. And these things, they're not telling you how to move, they're just giving you a sense of how you move it. They're not telling you how to move. These are not, we're not having to use these to, there's not an explicit way of using them. They're just amplifying our awareness because they're shifting our attention into this space to amplify our awareness. That's the purpose of them. So you've got some feedback. So now we can apply that with a club. So using this image here of the infinity shape, we can explore the feeling of that pressure shift through the feet. And I can't really hit it better than that for the first shot of today. I can't believe it, to be honest. It's that was a, yeah, I wasn't quite expecting that. Just shows you the power of a good exercise, really. Bit out to the right. You'll see that on the shot tracer. Started straight, faded off. If that's your shape, we can move into more of a draw pattern. I can load more in this direction. So as I'm changing direction, as my club's going back, and I'm shifting towards the target, that transition is called. It's really moving from preparation into an acceleration phase in your motion, because the backswing and the downswing are all intertwined. So the transition, we're never really transitioning because we're always moving really with counter moves. Although it looks like we rotate back and then we shift and then we rotate through. That's the whole system. What's actually happening is there's lots of counter movements going on. So we don't need to think about the overall movement. We can just explore moving this way. I want to go more into that direction, more towards the toe of the lead foot, and then I'm going to push back. So I'm going to just explore moving in this direction, which you'll see from this camera angle is going to take me into this draw pattern. And there it is. Absolute bullet, bit of draw, just a hair of draw, because we've got a left to right wind and it's into the wind. Strong flight, and me just exploring this feeling, which is essentially taking me into this part of the infinity shape. So by moving into that place, it's then enabling me to push back. And you can see how I've pushed back here. It's pushed my hip back. It's allowed me to rotate my pelvis, clearing the hips, firing the pivot, all this terminology you'll hear. It's really a displacement of the trail and lead hip. By pushing from the ground, we push the right hip back as a right-hander, trail side, then we push the lead hip back. By using the ground, by using this infinity shape. We've got a load in the forefoot to push back to the heel, it pushes the hip back. And then the upper body can react. And you create all this space for movement. So guys, go out there and try this. Get some spray on the floor. Even get a couple of pieces of string, some tennis balls. Feel what the pelvis is doing. Feel how you can actually really fire up the hip action using the ground. Play a few shots, explore it, and let me know how you get on. Because this is going to really help to ramp up these forces, increase the speed, get that lag for that strike, so you're going to get that ball speed with that much later release, because the body action is so much more dynamic and it all starts from the ground. Enjoy, guys.